Hello, and welcome to Pandering Hour. We're bringing it back. Deal with it. That scream always makes me laugh. I'm not endorsed by Jean. This is not a good idea. Don't do this. Never do this. Never ever. Like jumping in the deep end. It's fucking lit. It's so cool. So if I seem a little off this episode, it's because I'm fucking flying. I'm gonna go throw up right now. This is way better. Data White is stupid. Where do I find the hose? Big parts of our culture. Windbreaker jackets and Michael Jackson. For instance, one partner might play baby and put on a diaper. Ugh. Top 10 killer cucks. If you like putting stuff in your butt, that is your right. Put it in there. Put more in there. As much as it takes. And don't worry about straight or gay. It's not about that. It's about your own satisfaction. For you. For us, it's you're gay. But this is a circus. They're monkeys. Not KSI, but you know what I mean. The white guys are monkeys. Oh my god, his lip is in his mouth. Dude, that is too close. That is something I agree with. I don't value human life that much. Hello, and welcome to Pandering Hour. I am your host, Anthony Martin, and today we are discussing Myanmar. We're going to talk about it. So, Myanmar, also called Burma, I don't know why. As for the country's name, the commission decided to replace the English name Burma with Myanmar for three reasons. First, Myanmar is the official name of the country in the Burmese language, but the language is Burmese. And the aim of the commission was to have English place names aligned with Burmese place names and pronunciation. Okay. So, if you're Burmese, you're from Myanmar. This doesn't make... Can we just get on one page, please? So the people who are Burmese, or who live in Myanmar, are Burmese. They're not Myanmari. Great. This country is already frustrating me. I see a lot of temples. And I see a lot of news about people blowing each other up. Urgent Myanmar update? What is this? Hold on. I'm not endorsing these commercials. The commercials are bad. Stop, advertisements. It's not necessary, damn it. It's not... Ah, shit, no. I'm holding it together. Stop. Okay. Commercial is over. Let's see what happened. Burmese TV. How am I supposed to find out? What is the news? Okay. Let me see if I can get this in English. Can I get an article? Okay. In Myanmar, the humanitarian situation remained precarious following the escalation of violence since October of last year. Army armed clashes, artillery shelling, and indiscriminate shooting reported in about two-thirds of the country. According to the UN, the number of displaced people inside Myanmar now exceeds 2.6 million. Almost 800,000 people have been newly displaced since late October, out of whom 164,000 have either returned to their places of origin or fled for a second time across the northwest, northeast, southeast, and Rakhine state. Deepening violence, rising poverty levels, and deteriorating living conditions are having a devastating impact on people's lives. The situation is further compounded by the closure of roadways, waterways, movement restrictions, telecommunication challenges, all of which are undermining humanitarian actors' engagement and affected communities and limiting people's access to critical services. But why? Why? Like, what is happening? Burma has endured prolonged conflict for decades, predominantly in rural regions, pitting government forces against non-state armed groups primarily organized along ethnic lines. Fighting intensified and spread across the country after military retook power in 2021. By October 2023, three prominent armed factions in the northeast joined together to accelerate confrontations with the government. Okay. Um, what are the three prominent armed factions? Um, the Lahu Democratic Union, National Liberation Army, and the National Army and the National Liberation Army. Okay. Okay, and they're fighting against who? The Three Brotherhood Alliance. Okay. Why are the Three Brotherhood Alliance rebelling against who? But who are they fighting? Three Brotherhood Alliance purpose. The alliance was the first public action against the junta by either of the three groups. In the statement, the three groups stated that the three groups would reevaluate the unilateral ceasefire. The ceasefire fell apart in the following the alliance's first attack on junta troops in 2021. Who is the junta? The military junta. Okay. Military junta is a government led by a committee of military leaders. The term junta means meeting or committee. And originated in the national local junta organized by the Spanish resistance to Napoleon's invasion in 1808. So this has been around for... Who is the junta in Myanmar? 2020. Oh, there was a coup d'etat. A coup d'etat in Myanmar began in the morning of February 1st, 2021, when the democratically elected members of the country's ruling party, the National League for Democracy, were deposed by Tatmadaw. I'm fucking this up. The National League for Democracy were deposed by the Tatmadaw, which then vested power in the military junta. Acting president of Myanmar, Mint Sui, proclaimed a year-long state of emergency and declared power had been transferred to the Commander-in-Chief Defense Services, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. Okay. Declared the results of the November 2020 election invalid and stated its intent to hold a new election at the end of the state of emergency. The coup d'etat occurred a day before the Parliament of Myanmar was to swear in the members of... Well, so who are the people who got... who is this? Okay, the head of the government of Myanmar, equivalent to a prime minister. The office was created after Aung San Suu Kyi, National League for Democracy, won the 2015 Myanmar election. Blah blah blah. Roles and responsibilities. What did she want? Background: this post was created to landslide victory. Won a landslide victory. However, she is constitutionally barred from becoming president of Myanmar, as her late husband, Michael Aris, was British and her two children also hold British nationality. Oh, okay. So maybe the rebels are good guys in this case, because they're like, hey, you're not just going to put a British family in charge of the country. Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, I'd be pissed. And who is this guy? British historian who wrote and lectured Burmese, Tibetan, Himalayan culture. Become state counselor of Myanmar. He was born in Cuba. Relationship. After meeting the prime minister, were married in a Buddhist ceremony in 1972 after spending a year in Bhutan. Let me zoom in for you guys. A year in Bhutan, they settled in North Oxford, where they raised their two sons, Alexander Eris and Kim Eris. During this time, Eris pursued a postgraduate study at SOAS and obtained a PhD in Tibetan literature. In 1978, in 1988, okay. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer. Then he died. Yeah, sure. He has ass cancer. Okay. I'll think on that. This all seems a little fishy to me. The fact that like British colonialism, I always suspect there's some shit going on. Kind of like if like anytime the U.S. goes to the Middle East, I'm like, there's oil there, isn't there? They're like, no, 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 no. We just want to be friends. God, listen, listen. The United States military just likes to be friends with people in the Middle East. That's all. We just want friends. We just like the Brit. Oh, we just like that they got big feet. That's what we like. We're British. We just like the Chinese. That's what we do. We just want to be friends, governor. Okay. I'm trying to fix my green screen. Um, let's go to some fun facts. I feel like that'll lead me to some truth. There we go. I'm blurry now. Come back to me. I'll come back at some point. Is it Myanmar or Burma? First thing tourists notice is that some people call the country Myanmar, whereas others refer to it as Burma. This is strange and somewhat unique. Well, Burma was what the British called the country during their reign. Okay. The British used to control this place, and the rebels wanted to kill anything that had to do with the British. That makes sense. It's really irritating. Because imagine you spend, what is that, 120 years? 120 years with this country that's ruled you. And now you have to, now that they're gone, they still want to have some degree of influence, but now they're permanently, like generationally linked. How are you going to get away from them? It's almost like you know what it seems like to me? It's like black people who have connections to slavery, and like, oh yeah, my great great grandfather was um was a plantation owner, and my great great grandmother was his slave. So this is kind of like were the British cruel to the Burmese? What was British occupation like in Burma? Okay. Prior to British conquest, because of its location, trade routes between China and India passed through the country, keeping Burma wealthy through trade. Although self-sufficient, agriculture was still the basis of the economy. Indian merchants traveled along the coasts and rivers, especially the Irrawaddy River, throughout the regions where the majority of the Burmese lived, bringing Indian cultural influences into the country that still exists today. As Burma had been one of the first Southeast Asian countries to adopt Buddhism on a large scale, it continued under the British as officially patronized region of the most as wait, hold on, as the officially patronized region of most of the population. Before the British conquest and colonialization, the ruling Konbaung dynasty practiced tightly centralized form of government. The king was the chief executive and the final say on all matters. But he could not make new laws and could only issue administrative edicts. The country had two codes of law. The Damathan is the polyname of the genre of literature that found in the Indianized kingdoms of Western mainland Southeast Asia Principality, written in Pali, Burmese, Mon, or in Thai languages. Yeah. And the Hlalala uh, is a national level bicameral legislature of Myanmar established in 2008. In 2008? What are you talking about? This is way before 2008, right? Yeah, this is 1937. It was divided in three branches: fiscal, executive, and judicial. In theory, the king was in charge of all of the hutlaw, but none of his orders got put into place until the hulatal approved them, thus checking his power. Further dividing the country, provinces were ruled by governors who were appointed by the hutlaw, and villages were ruled by hereditary headmen approved by the king. And the arrival of the British. Conflict began between Burma and the British when the Kabong dynasty decided to expand into Arakan, the first state of Assam, close to the British-held Chittagong in India. This led to the First Anglo-Burmese War. Isn't this where Burmese Days takes place? Setting of Burmese Days. British Burma. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's a good book. That's a good book. Let's see. So, conflict began when the British held close to the British-held Chittagong in India. This led to the First Anglo-Burmese War. The British dispatched a large seaborne expedition that took Rangoon without a fight in 1824. In Danupu, the Ayeyarwady Delta, Burmese General Mahabandula was killed and his armies routed. Burma was forced to cede Assam and the other northern provinces. In 1826, Treaty of Yandabu formally ended the First Anglo-Burmese War, the longest and most expansive war in the history of British India. 15,000 European and Indian soldiers died, together with an unknown number of Burmese army and civilian casualties. The campaign cost the British between 5 and 13 million pounds sterling, between 18 and 48 billion in 2020 US dollars, which led to an economic crisis in British India in 1833. In 1852, the Second Anglo-Burmese War was provoked by the British, who sought to teak forests in Lower Burma, as well as a port between Calcutta and Singapore. After 25 years of peace, British and Burmese fighting started afresh and continued until the British occupied all of Lower Burma. The British were victorious in this war and as a result obtained access to teak, oil, and rubies of their newly conquered territories. In Upper Burma, the still unoccupied part of the country, King Mindon had tried to adjust and thrust imperialism. He enacted administrative reforms and made Burma more receptive to foreign interests. But the British initiated the Third Anglo-Burmese War, which lasted less than 2 weeks during November of 1885. The British government justified their actions by claiming that the last independent king of Burma, Thibaw Min, was a tyrant and that he was conspiring to give France more influence in the country. Yeah, to undercut you. Would you rather have, so the way, looking at it from their perspective, if they wanted to give France a bigger piece, it's almost like, okay, I know that I can't compete with you, but this guy can. And so, with France weakening the British influence, France and British will fight for control. They're leaving me the space to also fight for control, versus just me against one guy that's much bigger. Like if you're in a street fight and you're 150 pounds and the guy you're fighting is 250 pounds, and so you get another 250 pound guy that those two guys are going to fight because they hate each other. Yeah, and they fought before. That makes a lot of sense to me. Although you could just get double teamed. But yeah, definitely cutting out the British of a significant amount of wealth. Okay. British troops entered Mandalay on the 28th of November 1885. Thus, after 3 wars gaining various parts of the country, the British occupied all the area of present-day Myanmar, making the territory a province of British India in 1886. Early British rule. So, based on what I learned reading Burmese Days, it's not good. It's really not good. Um, hmm. How did British colonials treat Burma? I saw people answering without proper understanding the reason behind and completely legitimizing British colonialization of India. We invaded Assam and Manipur like we did other neighboring countries, and trying to intervene in succession of other countries like Europeans fought in Spanish and Austria succession wars. We tried to expand our influence the way European did, but they demonized us just because we followed the same path like they did. I'm not saying invasions are the right thing to do, but just giving proper explanation. In addition, our kings didn't want to deal with rude East Indian Company's officials. We always wished to deal with London directly. We sent our diplomatic letter to King George to form an alliance against France, but completely sidelined it. But company sidelined it. The king just simply put that letter, completely made of gold, in his collection in Hanover. We're not savages, and our court is more cultured than any princely state within India, according to Colonel Michael Symes, who visited Burma just before the Anglo-Burmese Wars. Why British suppressed? British had fought three uneasy wars with us. East India Company ran almost bankrupt. However, they control another strip of land in Myanmar. They found forgotten minorities and prefer to give them better treatments according to the British divide and rule policy they successfully applied in India. Burmese had been successful in almost any major wars against foreign powers throughout its existence. British colonialization is unbearable shame on us. Remnant of feudal system who had close connections with previous royal government rallied to fight the British. Common people rebelled against British only after 20-30 years. As British tried to set up an economy which no longer relying solely on agriculture, Burmese farmers, almost 95% of Burmese population, suddenly found themselves marginalized with foreigners, especially Indians dominated the upper class and prominent traders. British allowed migration of millions of Indians and Bengalis from India continent to Myanmar. This is not beautiful immigration like many liberals assume today. Can you imagine how locals felt threatened seeing their cities are no longer theirs but foreigner-dominated cities? These are some reasons for many dissatisfactions. Even today, some people felt offended when every city centers are dominated by ethnic Chinese and Indians. Then British started putting signs like Burmese and dog are not allowed on certain places, restrictions of trains like British only upper class and Burmese only lower class. Won't you feel deeply offended if you sympathize how Nazis treated Jews? We endured such pains under British, and that's why there's revolts almost every year under British colonialization. Okay. Okay. So it's one of these countries. Strong enough to rebel, but not strong enough to win. Myanmar Water Festival. Yeah! Yeah! Water! Biggest festival in the country. Thousands take to the streets for a huge water fight to celebrate Burmese New Year in April. Everyone has a great time. It's one of the most important facts about Myanmar culture. You should be aware as a tourist taking part of it. It's probably the best travel experience you can have here. Sure hope that water's clean. I feel like you're just asking to get something. The longi in Myanmar. A traditional piece of clothing that both men and women wear throughout Myanmar. A large 2-meter cloth is wrapped around the bottom half of the body, similar to a sarong. I'd be into that. I don't know if you've ever worn a toga. Dude, I love wearing a toga. You're so free. You can just have your junk out. Like I feel like pants are so constricting on my nuts and thighs. Like imagine living your life constantly being gripped up by the nuts. Just always grabbing your nuts. I want space. I want my nuts to breathe. Let my nuts go. Okay. Myanmar still uses the imperial system. Very few countries measure things using the imperial system. This means that they measure weight in pounds and distances in inches rather than more common kilogram. Yeah! Hell yeah, man. They're using inches. Their dicks aren't measured in centimeters. They're measured in. I was about to look up the size of dicks in Myanmar. All right, we're gonna look it up. Why don't we just look at the size of their people? Average height and weight of American, not American woman, American. 190. I'm 50 pounds heavier. But to be fair, 62 inches in height. That's not, no. Sorry, 73 inches. I was about to say, there's no way the average height is 5'2". 190 that would be 6'1". Yeah, that would be 6'1". So 6'1" is like the higher end of men's height. I'm 3 inches taller and 50 pounds heavier. Eek, I'm fat. Now let's look at Myanmar. Of Burma. Oh, it's in fucking European. 5'2". At how much weight? Their average height is 5'2". No, they're not a Burmese cat, you fucking idiot. Oh, whatever. They're 5'2". I'm bigger than them. That's what I wanted to know. I'm bigger. Preferred method of carrying things is on the head. Is there a trick to this? One of the more unusual facts about Myanmar you'll notice quite often when you're visiting is that people, especially women, tend to carry things on their heads rather than using their hands. Foreigners are shocked at this at first and automatically think back to travel shows on Africa. But carrying things on the head is quite popular and is a more convenient method of transport. You can expect to see vendors carrying food on a large metal plate or even a basket full of on the weekly shopping on their heads. Okay. Let me see something. How to carry things on your head. So like a tutorial? Well, this is in Guinea-Bissau, but let's see. Which I did an episode on. I did an episode on Guinea-Bissau. I'm going to teach you how to carry water on your head. Yeah, it's on her head and she's just walking. It looks perfectly balanced. Singing to herself. 5 gallons of water is not easy. Oh my god. This is 1 gallon. It's heavy as hell. You know what this does? It does make me need a better posture. Oh, this is a lot better. This is way easier. Okay, when making it, we start like this. So you put it on our head to fetch water. This is how we do it. Then we do it like this. Oh, you make a little ring. Oh, so you make a little seat for the water. Yeah, she's having a hard time just raising it up. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Hands are down. She's walking with it. Walking, singing. My neck hurts. That was one gallon of water for like a couple minutes. Like a minute, tops. Okay. Dude, my neck is exploding right now. I'm gonna lie down after this and be like, oh, I'm fucked up. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I can't do that. They're built different. Their neck game is tough. Imagine. We're not gonna imagine that. The Kingdom of Pagan. or Pagan. In the 12th and 13th century, a large and powerful kingdom flourished in the plains of central Myanmar. Kings built a succession of ancient temples and pagodas, which became a center of the Theravada Buddhism. This is also the birthplace of the dominance of Burmese culture and language in modern-day Myanmar. The new capital, holy shit, what is that? In October of 2005, Yangon was a bustling capital of Myanmar. A few weeks later, it was no longer the capital, and the government staff suddenly found that they had relocated almost 400 kilometers up the road to Nai. No, I don't know, man. Also, you gotta look at how hot these dudes look. Look at these dudes. This is what Myanmar men look like. Look, they got the sarong. That dude looks like Orlando Bloom. That guy, hold on. I gotta get in closer on this. Look at this Orlando Bloom looking. Look at him. That's Orlando Bloom. And then, let's see. Yeah, they're like, oh, let's go. Those women want us. Of course they do. Look at this dude. He looks pretty Chinese. Look at this dude. Most handsome face in 2021 belongs to Myanmar actor turned political prisoner. Paing Takhon. Set my boy Paing free. Why is this handsome ass man locked away? Paing Takhon. What happened? What did you do to Paing? Oh, these guys are rocking diapers? What's going on? Okay, this is how you put your sarong in sport mode. He was a monk? 24-year-old Burmese male model becomes international sensation after shaving head. And he's younger than me? Oh, fuck, I'm old and gross. Political prisoner. One of Myanmar's most popular celebrities has been jailed for 3 years for taking part in a mass protest that rocked Myanmar following a military coup last February. Paing Takhon, this is the military, yeah! A model and actor with millions of fans took part in an anti-coup protest that had been vocal in condemning the government online. Well, so going back to what I'm saying, like if the people are supporting this like British family, because they are a British family, that prime minister, her husband was a British official. Um, but she was from Myanmar, right? Let me go back. Let's go back. Myanmar coup. Who is she? Where is she from? Suu Kyi, a Burmese politician. Where was she born? Diplomat and author, 1991 Nobel Peace Prize laureate who served as state chancellor of Myanmar, equivalent to a prime minister. Served as the General Secretary for the National League of Democracy since the party's founding in 1988 and was registered as a chairperson while it was a legal party from 2011 to 2023. She played a vital role in Myanmar's transition from military junta to partial democracy in 2010. Youngest daughter of Aung San. His Excellency Father of the Nation Bogyoke. Okay. Was a Burmese politician, independence activist, and revolutionary. He was instrumental in Myanmar's struggle for independence from British rule. So his daughter marrying I mean, this kind of seems like something that would unite the country, and then they overthrow it. But, so, were these the good guys that got overthrown, or did the bad guys get overthrown by the people? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And ultimately, who's right and who's wrong. You'll never know. So yeah, this guy was taken political prisoner after he was protesting that big coup. Okay. And what do the women look like? What are the ladies like with all these hot dudes in diapers? Oh, they have the thing. Eee. That looks crazy. Hold on. Myanmar women neck. What's it called? Copper neck thing. What's it called? Why do Kayan long neck women wear their rings? In the hills of northern Thailand, right at the border of Myanmar, lives a tribe of Karenni people called the Kayan Lahui. The Kayan have become well-known for a striking appearance of their women wearing rings or coils around their neck that make it seem like the neck is stretched and their head is floating above a pedestal of gold, hereby paying respect to the age-old tradition. However, there is some speculation as to what caused the women to start wearing rings and what is the purpose of still wearing them today. When asked, even the Kalen women say themselves they do not have a direct answer. Some say the rings would offer protection from tiger attacks, often aiming for their neck. Others would speculate to keep rival tribes from abducting women by lessening their beauty. Most likely would be the opposite, the sheer beauty and pride of putting emphasis on women's necks, giving the Kayan a divine grace. However, it may be many tourists travel to their villages in northern Thailand every year to see the so-called giraffe women, to behold giraffe women. That is pretty funny. Look at these giraffe women. Man, does it really... Are they trying to lengthen their necks? Shunning traditional neck rings. 12-inch necks. See how women torture themselves.
Can your husband make gold out of stones? Because if he can, I would like to speak to him. I'm Paula Froelich. Start. The Karen, the dragon, forest, and fell in love with a dragon.
Okay.
The dragon then laid 3 eggs, out of which were born 3 tribes. The Pa'o, the Karen.
The Karen. Karens are descendants of dragons, with their mighty roar. Let me speak to your manager! Rah!
And the Padang.
Stupid. The Padang.
Since then, in order to honor their basilisk mother, the Padang women have elongated their necks to resemble a dragon. So all the women are
They're meant to look like dragons, and they're like, look at these giraffe ladies.
dragons, and all
These dumb long neck horse ladies.
the men are alchemists. Oh, nice. Can your husband make gold out of... Mule has been wearing 24 brass coils for 43 years. Her neck is now 12 inches long. How old were you when you first put these on? And how many did you start with?
Started with 14.
What would happen if you took them off? Would your neck be able to support your head? Like Mule, 2 of her nieces wear the coils as well.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, is it an illusion that her neck is really long? Do they keep them on for life?
And once they're on,
I bet it stinks in there. I bet it stinks like crazy.
Stay on forever. Your grandmother said that the younger generation is not wearing it so much anymore. Why did you decide to wear it? What do they think about you wearing the rings?
From my friend's point of view, they think the rings look ugly. She thinks they're beautiful. Okay. I wonder if maybe that's like her family's influence. Yeah, that looks nuts. It looks like her neck is a leg. Like, she looks huge. Okay, that's nuts. It's or sorry, how should I say that rather than being like that's crazy? Because people can take offense to that. That is shocking. That is interesting, very intriguing, and I support their decision to become giraffe women. But let's figure out what's going on with this big gold tower. What is this? Um, what is the gold tower in Naypyidaw? It's the pagoda. Uh, the pagoda houses. I mean, that's huge. It's a peace pagoda. Is a prominent landmark in Naypyidaw, the capital of Myanmar. The pagoda houses a Buddha tooth relic. Um, the Buddha was cremated and the ashes divided among his lay followers. It's nearly the same size replica of the Shwedagon pagoda in Yangon and stands 99 meters. The construction of it began in 2006. I mean, that's crazy. In March 2009, I like how they had to bring that up. They're like 20 people died during a Ferris wheel accident uh, while making the pagoda. That's nuts. More like a sacrifice. Captive white elephants. 7 captive white elephants are kept on the pagoda grounds. I want to see this. Are there really white elephants? That can't be real. I guess they're kind of white. Maybe they're whiter than other ones. Maybe they're kind of pink. They're poor sunburnt elephants. How hot is it in Myanmar? Hold on. Uh, a high of not. Those poor white people. Those. No. Oh my God. I'd be suffering right now. I'm a big white elephant myself. Oh come on. These poor whites. No. And people say white people don't struggle. Look at these poor white. Look at the sunburn. Oh good Lord. What have you done? They need some goddamn sunblock, man. Oh, that's pretty white, yeah. If you touch a white elephant in Myanmar, what happens? When you travel to Myanmar, you often see white elephants. Whether it's real, painting, or photography, people in Myanmar take care of white elephants a lot. In fact, Myanmar is not the only country that sanctifies white elephants. That is because it's related to the legend passed down in Buddhism. The legend is that about Mrs. Maya, who had a conception dream about the birth of Buddha. In her dream, a white elephant appeared and gave her a lotus flower to his wife, who later became pregnant with the Sakyamuni and gave birth. Even now, Myanmar people who use white elephants in various tasks, but they do not make them work as much as white elephants. They do use elephants. They use elephants? The white elephants have been treated so strictly that it is managed by the royal family. The same applies in Thailand, a country next to the Buddhist country. But through the Westerners' eyes, it was just a waste. People of Thailand just left the elephant a valuable labor force. Also, elephants eat a lot. The white elephant, which is still used in Western meaning expensive, useless things. I see. So that's a colloquialism. I think. As such, there is an incident that touched a white elephant which was sacred to the people. It was 1885 when British troops were invading Myanmar. Something ominous happened in Hispa. At that time, the white elephant managed by the royal palace died, which led to rumors that the king would soon die. It meant that the fate of the king was connected to the fate of the elephant. The terrible rumor spread so quickly that it even went to the ears of the British army who was attacking the area. Eventually, British troops succeeded in conquering the palace. As British troops entered the royal palace, the body of the white elephant was visible, and they tried to pull it out roughly. Unsurprisingly, the locals were shocked. In the eyes of the Shan, the British troops seemed rude, disrespectful, and ruthless. The people hid in the jungle and prepared for the war. They judged that it was difficult to fight head-on with the British troops, and they carried out guerrilla resistance movement that lasted 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of what... The only equivalent thing I can think of is like if you bombed the Statue of Liberty. Like if like Russia or China invaded and they like knocked down the Statue of Liberty, that probably... Or if you 9/11, 9/11. That was their 9/11 basically. The British troops came in and they fucked up a white elephant. Uh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Whew. That's pretty cute. Ah, he looks like a little teapot. Um, these poor whites forced to be in the sun. I mean, I was dying out there in Austin, Texas. The sun was just kicking my ass all day. It was awful. Okay. Let's go back to the fun facts. Um, how to get a waiter's attention. Oh, this is interesting. There's one more cultural fact about Myanmar that tourists find surprising. Imagine that you're sitting at a restaurant and want to attract the attention of the waiter. What do? Most people wave their hands or try and catch the waiter's eye to call him over to the table, not Myanmar. What you do here is by making a kissing sound 2 or 3 times in the direction of the person you're calling. Alright. Yeah, you're gonna get... That's a fight. That's a fight. If someone's like, hey, just... the fuck? The fuck you call me? Some dude in a skirt. It's like what? And then he folds it up into his diaper, and he's like, "What? Don't make me go sport mode on you." What's it called? Sarong diaper. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. Yeah, don't make me put this shit in sports mode. Sport mode, bro. Red stains in batel leaves. Batel leaves are a mild stimulant that locals like to chew for a couple minutes. Fortunately, the leaves can cause their mouth to water, which in turn mixed with the red dye of the substance. People then spit this onto the floor, causing red stains along the street. The first impression when you see this obscuse making or ubiquitous marking on the floor may be blood, but it's not. When you're in Myanmar, you'll see people chewing this and will become familiar with the red stains that line in the streets. Vendors sell large green leaves containing the nut with spices and occasionally tobacco. Try it yourself if you dare. Okay. What do they feel like? How does it feel to chew batel leaves? Batel chewing has been claimed to produce a sense of well-being, euphoria, heightened alertness, sweating, salivation, a hot sensation in the body, and increased capacity to work. Yeah. Chemical in batel leaves. Anti-inflammatory properties, phenolic compounds, flavonoids, and terpenoids. It's kind of like weed. What is the acid in batel leaf? Ascorbic acid. Salivary antioxidant. Batel leaf is used in quid, also known to contain that. Okay. Is it bad for your liver? Studies have shown a strong association between batel and development of cirrhosis and hepatocellular carcinoma. Okay. Okay. Let's see. The Shwedagon Pagoda is extremely valuable. Yeah, it looks valuable. Look at that thing. The one in Yangon is iconic of Myanmar and attracts pilgrims from around the country. Tourists marvel at this giant gold-plated complex in the center of the former capital. When you visit, you can understand why it's so valuable. More than 60 tons of gold cover the exterior of the pagoda, and look up at the top of the main stupa that extends up to the sky. You'll see a giant diamond sat inside the hottie. This is a real 75 carat or 15 gram. How big is a 75 carat diamond? So that's 3 carat, and that would be huge. Um, 10 carat. 10 carat is like the size of your finger. 10. So 7 times that. That's probably yeah, that's a rock. That's huge. Let me see. A top. What is it called? Yagon main stupa. Oh, sorry, 76 thing. How much is it worth? 3 billion. Ho 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 ho. Oh, that's expensive. I just want to see it. I want to see the. Oh wow. Oh wow, man. That's big. That's a big diamond. Holy shit. Oh, it's like the thing people said that the tops of pyramids used to be a big diamond. Yeah, when things go down, that's getting sacked. It's getting sacked. I might sack it right now. The magic of Thanaka. Anyone who visits Myanmar will notice people in the street with what seems to be like mud smeared all over their face. This is a little disconcerting at first, but nothing to worry about. Actually, it's a special mixture of powdered bark that comes from a particular tree. When it's produced, locals wipe it on their face to act as a protectant against the sun. Ah, they're protecting the whites. Thank you. Protect the whites, please. That sun is crazy. Look at her neck. This is a young lady. I think. Young lady, and her neck looks like elephant skin. Like like this looks pretty rough. The joys of driving across the roads in Myanmar. Um, the joys of driving across the roads, and then there's 3 people in the road. What are you trying to say? Myanmar was once ruled by the British for more than over a century and therefore adopted some of their customs and traditions. One of these is the style of driving. Just like their former colonial masters, early vehicles drove on the left. The vast majority of other countries drive on the right. Then, just as abrupt as the capital moving to Naypyidaw, one day in 1970, the government announced that all cars will drive on the opposite side of the road, so now driving is on the right. In theory, that might not sound like such a big deal, but you remember when this change happened 40 years ago? What? Do we remember? Or in theory, this may not sound like such a big deal when you remember this change happened 40 years ago, but in reality, it's a problem. Okay. It sounded like, oh, remember when this happened? And it's like, I don't remember. Roads and older vehicles were designed to drive on the left. Yeah, I get it. Left and right. Oh, so hard. Come to Myanmar for a cultural experience. Okay. Myanmar has a number of travel restrictions for tourists. Because of international politics and civil unrest in some regions, large parts are off limits. This includes some of the more beautiful areas in Shan State, a number of smaller villages. You are also faced with restrictions for religious purposes and to preserve the integrity of rural communities. But this shouldn't stop you from wanting to visit. Okay. Change your watch. Got it. Okay. Um, I'll just say this. Free my man Paing, okay? Come on, guys. Free Paing. Hashtag free Paing. Thanks for watching. I love you.